Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Vijayendra Singh Tawar, Associate Professor in English. Presently, I have been posted at Government College, Gudha, in the Jhanjhanur district. In the video lecture series, which I am preparing for the students of English literature, today's lecture is meant for class BA part 3rd, English literature, paper 2nd, and the title of the story is The Shroud. Today on this story, we will talk and discuss the theme of exploitation and conscience in the story entitled The Shroud. As far as author is concerned, we know this is a famous story composed or written by our well-known name in world literature, Munshi Premchand. His real name was Dhanpat Rai Srivastav. He was born on July 31st in the year of 1880 and died in October 8 in the year 1936. He was a famous writer and he used to write in two languages, Hindi and Urdu. He wrote poetry, novels, short stories in Hindi and Urdu. So he was a versatile genius. Among his most famous works are Gaban, Godan, Rangbhumi, etc. And his short stories were collected under the title Mansarovar. He raised social issues in his works. He highlighted issues of social concern such as the condition of child widows and prostitutes, landless laborers, peasants. But his work is noted for the picture of humanity that he presents, not just for the social issues that he highlights in him. The latter may not have the same relevance today, but the characters that people his work are just as alive today as they were when his works were first published. The idea is he has created in his composition such characters which were present in the society at the time of Munshi Premchand, which are present, the present and will remain present in the future society also. He also wrote plays and did some translations. He was such a popular writer that his works have been translated into English and Russian language. The main characteristics of his writing is his interesting storytelling, and he uses simple language. This is his forte, we can say. He called literature a work that expresses the truth and experiences of life impressively. What he wants to say that a writer should present before his audience or readers the world which he has created in an effective manner, and he was very much successful in this work. Now, the Shroud or the Kafan in Hindi is a well-known story of Munshi Premchand. It was written by Munshi Premchand in Hindi and it was translated into English by Rakshanda Jalil and Pullins. In this story, we find the main characters skillfully eke out. Eke out means to support existence with difficulty and efforts, a living by exploiting the sensibilities of well-established, stratified society. This story brings before us the characters who actually belong to lower caste and who have been in general exploited by the upper strata of society. But here the table has turned. Here these two characters are shown exploiting the sensibility of the higher strata of society. These sensibilities are not necessarily sound or reasonable ones, but neither are they absolutely damnable. Means the sensibility which is questioned, we cannot say that this is reasonable or this is scientific, but at the same time we believe yes, such things could happen. Though here the misuse of such sensibilities are shown, but we will again and again sport these sensibilities. Their important characteristics lies in the fact that within the framework of the story, they are static and therefore they preclude. I have given the meaning in bracket of the some difficult words. The students may face some problem. That is why, that is prevent from happening or make impossible the society's interaction with these characters on any level that would supersede, take the place of a person or thing previously in the authority or use supplant. The social structure to form a more personal, genuine human contact, unmindful of arbitrary. Again, the meaning arbitrary means unrestrained and autocratic in the use of authority. Social stigmas, stigma, mark of disgrace, insult, associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. The idea is these sensibilities are very important, and these two people, those two characters which have been created in this story and which are regarded as the most detestable characters ever created in the world of literature, they have exploited these sensibilities. This very distance which society itself maintains in the structure of its sensibilities allow these characters to exploit those members of society bound by its sensibilities without feeling remorse or guilt. Means in society there is a hierarchy that these people are belonging to upper state of society, then some lower, then lower and lower, like this. There is a hierarchy. So the topmost people of the upper state of society, they have created a kind of system that they have an image in the society. They are expected to follow certain rules, certain precepts, certain guidelines, so that the lower people should also follow them. For example, if there is a person who is in need, should be helped. And being the upper strata people, say Zamindar or landlord, if he will not help, nobody will help. So it is his moral duty to help the needy person. This is called sensibility. And in order to protect their image, the people who care for their image in the society, they follow these guidelines in the society. And they have been exploited in this story by our two most detestable characters in English literature. Guilt only surfaces when the structure itself is challenged or disrupted. Means interrupt. But here it is not challenged. They are presenting themselves as needy. They are not trying that we are right. They are presenting themselves as beggars, as hopeless, needy people. So in this way, they extract money and other requirements from the other society or the upper strata of society. The conflict arises when the main characters break or consider breaking a social precept etched permanently upon the minds of their fellow villagers. The villagers consider the breaking of such a precept an unforgivable offense completely independent of and unconditioned by the previously demonstrated moral character of the offenders. The idea is, if a zamindar who is expected to help the needy does not help, then his image will be defect. He will not be regarded as a good person. So in order to maintain his image of a good character, he will have to help the needy. If suppose there is a dead body in the village and the person or the relative of the dead body does not have any money or any kind of resource to do the last rite, then it is the moral duty of the villagers, particularly upper strata people, that they should help in performing the last rite. If they do not do, it will be a blot on their image. This is called sensibility. The irony that Premchand tries to bring out hinges on the greater importance attributed in the minds of the villager to these particular precepts rather than to moral character of the offenders. Means while helping, you should not think that the person who is dead belongs to such a person who is very criminal or sarkar or a person who has abused, who misbehaved, bad character. Such things become secondary in such situation. It is entrenched or it is established in the mind of people of the village that they should help such people, needy people, in any condition. They have desensitized themselves to moral character where it does not concern these precepts in order to avoid responsibility for the society as a whole. Yet, in the case of nominal infractions, that is a violation or infringement of law or agreement, they readily lend judgment in order to maintain the illusion of responsibility. People say, yes, we are the responsible people of the society, we should do this, we should not do that, etc. Now let us come to this story. The situation of the main characters in the Shrav is somewhat different by virtue of their position in society. Ghisu and Madhav were born into the position of the exploited, the low-cost laborers who work only to subsist with very difficulty. The idea is these two characters, father and son, Ghisu and Madhav, they belong to a lower caste, and it is generally assumed or thought that lower caste people are being exploited by the upper caste people, and they worked hard, lower caste people worked hard in order to maintain their minimum lifestyle, living. Only by their own cleverness have they reversed this exploitation to benefit themselves. But in this story, these two people who belong to lower caste, by their skill, by their cleverness, shrewdness, they have created such kind of system that they have been able to exploit the upper caste people. Ghisu and Madhav make little effort to conceal their misdeeds. They do not try to hide their misdeeds, but they draw attention to these precepts whenever it may help them to exert their petty livelihood from the other villagers. For example, when Budhiya is dead, they go to Jamidar and request him to help them as they have no money, though Jamidar or landlord does not like them, but he has to give them 2 rupees because of his sensibility, which was being exploited by these two characters. In the case suggested by the title, these two loafers, knowing that cremating Madhav's dead wife without a shroud would be a sign of impiety, lack of respect, reflecting upon the entire village, solicit from the rest of the villagers. The idea is, if their village does not provide a shroud for Budhiya, it will not be an insult of only these two people, but the insult of, or it will be blot on the image of the whole people. So in order to protect their image, they will naturally arrange the shroud for Budhiya. They know very well. They know that it makes little difference how these people judge them. They do not care what kind of image there will be. They are ready to let the people think what they think. They do not care for any kind of image. Because the pressure to maintain this particular show of propriety is too strong to refuse their request. Means in order to protect their image, people will have to help them. Jamidar's behavior is most telling. He, perhaps more than anyone else, has witnessed Ghisu and Madhav sponging. Sponging means they used to get money without doing any work. And unreliability every time he has asked them to work. Means in the past, Zamindar had asked both of them to work in his fields or somewhere else. They promised, they took money, but they did not come for work. This was the image. They were beaten because they did not fulfill their promise. They were abused. They were beaten because they did not return the borrowed money. Means they had all kinds of negativity in their characters. And they have accepted it, and they do not want to be good person. They want to go ahead in the field of negativity in order to get money from the upper strata of the society. The Jamidar cannot bring himself to refuse them now, no matter how little he cares for their loss. For his role dictates that he set an example of generosity in the village. The Jamidar gave them money because he was not trying to help them. He was trying to protect his image, what the other people will think about him, that if he will not help in such a situation, that there is a dead body lying in the village and Jamidar is not giving any help in order to do the last rite of that dead body. So the rest is easy for the father and son. Ghisu knew how to trumpet the Jamidar's name around. When Jamidar gave, he made it publicity in the whole village that Jamidar has given this much help. Now what the other people will do? Some give this small amount, some that amount, etc., etc. Producing evidence that a powerful member of the village conformed to customary propriety, no one else can refuse him. Means if the Jamidar has given 2 rupees, then other VIP people of the village should help them with their any kind of money, say 2 anna, 4 anna, 8 anna, etc. Even after they have squandered the money, as we know, both of them went to town, they discussed the issue and drunk and ate and squandered the whole money, that is spent all money. Ghisu and Madhav trust that the villager will provide a shroud once again. So compelled are they by their self-image. Means they know how to exploit the villager's sensibility. The concepts of these 2 lichis, which we may treat as a single aspect due to the similarity of their characters, work on a shallower level. Ghisu and Madhav do not fear it because it has touched them so far. They have received beatings, invectives with such regularity that the prospect does not frighten them. That what the people will do, the village people will beat them, they will abuse them, they are ready for this, but they are able to extort money from the villagers. They are highly insensitive people. They are cold and sit in front of their house listening to the agony of a dying woman, thinking only of the social obstacles that death will create. The fear of God's justice does present an obstacle to Ghisu and Madhav, but one that is easily overcome by drunken rationalizing. Once they drink, then they think God, they will see the God. Madhav's concern about meeting his dead wife, Udaya, in heaven represents a brief show of independence in his character. But again, it is a whimsical fear stemming from popular religious imagery, and they do not care it, and he forgets it easily, quickly. Premchand, that is our author, seems to throw this in almost as mockery of such ideas among these villagers. That people of the village have this kind of image or philosophy and they can be exploited. Premchand adeptly demonstrates the poverty of conscience created by easily exploited pressures to maintain a society's self-image. His characters lack only freedom from his formulas of this type of social interaction. The idea is the character which he has created, they are able, though they belong to the class which was being exploited in the past, now they have been able to exploit the sensibility of the upper caste people, and they do not care about their image. And Premchand has presented everything in a very, you can say, in a very impressive manner. Thank you very much.